Alright, we're here at Belly Up with Amlak Tafari from Steel Pulse. He's also founder of Yellow Wall and the reggae ambassador, I guess they call you, huh?
No, ambassador, man.
Excuse me, ambassador. So tell me about that. Where did you get the name ambassador of reggae music?
Man, I think it's something to do with the instrument up there, and it's I suppose you could say I am. The bass, I play bass, and I adore playing bass. The international reggae and bass.
Excuse me, it's international.
No, I even excuse myself when I forget to say it like that.
So, tell me a little bit about the charity you've been working with. You've been doing some work like in the detention centers.
Yeah, there's an organization in the US called Express Yourself. They're from Milwaukee, and on a number of occasions I've been flown over here to work with that organization. They work with a lot of young people on the verge of exclusion or who are incarcerated and such forth. And so I've been involved in a number of projects with them, which leads me to being in schools and in detention centers and imparting knowledge, sharing time and learning from them. Everybody has a story. It doesn't matter what age you are, right? Everybody has a story, and I've had some wonderful experiences working with these young people. Though they might be in a predicament right now, behind locked doors, they're still people, and like I said, they all have a story. So I've done a lot of work with those young people, aged from 7 going up to 19. And I've done similar kind of work in Brazil, do some stuff in England, various places. So it just involves a lot of music workshops, getting young people involved in music, people who've never picked up an instrument before. Right? We give them instruments to play, and then within half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, right? Their efforts, their individual efforts constitute music. So I introduce elements of mathematics on a very, very basic level. I'll say things like, can you count to 4? I'll say, yeah. Can you count to 8? Yeah, okay. Well, I want you to do this. Take that finger, hold that note, and on 3, you do this. On 5, you do that. On 7, you do that. And then collectively, they're making music. But I'm also subliminally telling them that mathematics is not always hard. It just depends on how you look at it. So if you can count to 8, you can start doing complex equations, more and more complex. It's just the mindset, it's the approach. So we try to introduce a lot of different things, involving communication. One of the things that we do is to make sure that they understand that perhaps the way they were communicating before, there's another way to communicate with another person. So like myself as a musician, when I'm working in a band environment, right, we have ways of passing messages without opening our mouths. Right, we look, we make gestures, and we start to, as we say, come on the same wavelength. And so with these people, these young people, we teach them another way of communicating, which doesn't involve, you're wrong, this is how to do it. We teach them how to look at each other, nod, preempt, and get on the same wavelength, the same vibe. So there's a lot of things involved in those workshops, which is quite self-gratifying.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the mentoring and things you learned throughout these workshops, like you would say, like this is something that's definitely changed your life, something that made you see life differently.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I need mentoring myself, and I have, I've been very fortunate to have great people around me, all around the world. Right? People that I've known for years, and some people I've known for 2 minutes. And I'm learning from everybody.
Sure.
There's always somebody telling me something, and I think, oh my goodness, if I can pick the sense from the nonsense there, I'm going to benefit. So yeah, the best way to learn is to teach.
Okay. Besides composing music, you also do producing and you work with a lot of groups. Like, what have you been working on in like the last year?
Last year, well, I was doing some actually. I've been doing a lot of different stuff, right? But I did some music I composed for a TV documentary recently, and even more recently, the production I'm working on now, the band Musical Youth, right? For them and those that will remember Musical Youth, this year, 2012, marks the 30th anniversary of their number one sensational smash hit, which went around the world, called Pass the Dutchie, which is actually a take on the Mighty Diamond song, Pass the Dutchie. However, 30 years ago, Musical Youth were youth, and they were aged between 11 and 15 years old. It wouldn't have looked good if they were at that age singing about passing a vessel used for the for smoking marijuana.
Yeah, sure.
On the left hand side.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have sounded good, so they changed a couple of words and said pass the Dutchie. And in Jamaican cuisine, a Dutchie is a Dutch pot, yeah. We call it Dutch pot. So they just turned it into a drum and said pass the Dutchie on the left hand side. Became a smash hit, it was #1 in a number of countries around the world.
Sure.
It introduced them to the likes of Stevie Wonder, Donna Summer, Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson. They were phenomenal, and they enjoyed a large amount of success, right, with that hit.
Sure.
You know, the guys have still been performing over the years, bit by bit, and two of the guys have come back together: the lead singer, Dennis Seaton, and the keyboard player, Michael Grant. Right. They've invited me to be the musical director, so I've been taking care of the rehearsals and doing all that side of stuff. And they also asked me to produce the album with them. So I've been working on tracks and doing all sorts.
So you're a busy guy, very busy, obviously. You know, and when you're touring, you're busier. Like, how do you hold it together? What do you do to keep your mind sane? And
that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Keeping my mind sane. I just kind of focus on things that are important to me. You know, I think the last time we talked, did I have my master's in? I recently got a master's in musicology.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I'm looking at starting a PhD. Right, hopefully by the end of this year. In terms of keeping my sanity, I try to keep my focus, which is very, very difficult with life's pressures. There's so many things happening, you know, I can be on top. Like, for example, I'll stand on the stage and halfway through a steel pulse set, I'm thinking about things in England, I'm thinking about something that happened in some other country last week. You know, we just go into automatic pilot. So it's very hard to keep the focus. One of the things that, with regards to keeping the focus, if you work hard, continually practice, then you afford yourself more time to be able to think of other things. What I mean by that, like touring and like working with steel pulse, when my brain drifts off to other issues in my mind and in my life, if I didn't work hard enough to do what it is I do, to be able to just do it automatic pilot, then I'll be in trouble. So it's about keeping that focus when I'm coming on tour. As soon as I get on the airplane to go on tour, I get in the steel pulse mode. When I finish the steel pulse mode, I get into the whatever else mode I gotta get into.
Sure.
But it's like when, I don't know if you said in America, get 40 winks, or a cat nap, if you said in this country.
I guess cat nap,
Cat
yeah.
nap, 40 winks, or a power nap.
40 winks.
Right? Yeah, we say 40 winks in England, yeah. Right? It's condensed, it's concentrated, and it brings you back. You get a lot of energy, and you're good to go again, yeah?
Sure.
So with everything that I do, all the different projects I'm working on, I'll get involved pretty heavily, put a lot into it, and that affords me more time on the outside to be able to handle everything else when it's that time, and still be able to bounce back to what I was doing before. So in other words, I have to work 100 times harder in every area that I'm working in to be able to maintain. And then in between that, there's a thing called sleep I heard of. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm going to try that.
For sure. So tell me a little bit about your ideas on the future of reggae music, just worldwide, where it's headed, where it's going.
Well, reggae, I don't think reggae is going anywhere. Reggae's arrived, and that's it. I work around the world playing reggae music. If reggae was not there, then I wouldn't be there. It's as simple as that. Reggae has already arrived. Reggae is a part of the fabric of the globe. You know, in terms of the genre developing and changing somewhat, perhaps the lyrical content or the style of how the reggae is being played, it's ever developing. It's like anything else. You know, there are new influences all the time. Each artist that comes along comes with their own flavor. If you have a multitude of people that appreciate that flavor and demand that flavor, it becomes popular. Then that is the new strand of reggae. Unless that person has decided to emulate some of the past masters and try to sound like them and to play exactly like them.
Mm-hmm.
If they haven't done that, then they're going to be developing the genre. And if a lot of people like it, then people will suddenly say, well, this is how reggae is nowadays. For example, we talk about dancehall music. Dancehall music, right, there's this particular kind of beat, you know, a kind of feeling you get from dancehall. You know, like one time gone, like a dancehall beat would be like, alright, so that's dancehall. However, 20 years ago, dancehall, the title still existed. And dancehall music basically is the same as pop music, popular music. It is what is being played in the dance hall at the time. That's what dancehall music is. So when the rhythm had changed somewhat and then it became like people said, yeah. But then they gave that style the title dancehall. And it's been evolving ever since, and things have changed and changed and changed. So dancehall is whatever the popular music is at the time. And then some people say, like, we're down in Argentina and Brazil, talk about real roots, and everybody has their own terminology for how the music is developing. But the core of it still remains, and the core of it will always remain. As long as there is Bob Marley music being played, Burning Spear, Mighty Diamonds, Israel Vibrations, you know, Steel Pulse coming from the European side of things. As long as this music still exists, then the core or the original sound will be recognized. In terms of authenticity, some would say, well, it's got to come from Jamaica to be authentic. However, when I'm in Buenos Aires and I'm in Santiago, I'm hearing music from people that have never been to Jamaica. And I would say, yo, that's got to be a Jamaican band, because, so what is authentic, what isn't? We can say something is developing. We could say originally something came from, and we could say everything else is a derivative of. But in terms of authenticity, if I do something my way, it might be that style, but it's my way, then it's authentic unto. So it's growing, man. Reggae is growing, man. Reggae, it's here. It's spreading, but it's already here.
Awesome. I like that answer. It was awesome. Well, thank you for the interview, Amlak.
Listen here, man, my brother and my sister. You see, when it come to one thing when me know, where I'm on the proper RollinSD.